Hello, welcome to Selling a Business Product Package, presented by ESS BIZTOOLS. You can subscribe to this package as part of the ESS BIZTOOLS Gold Package or as a separate standalone subscription to Selling a Business. Obviously, it's very difficult to sell a business at present. We're in a buyer's market. Primarily, this has been caused by the growing number of people, so-called baby boomers, in or approaching retirement age, who are thinking about selling a business. So let's go through some of the material. I picked a sample of some of the forms and procedures that we have within the Selling a Business consultancy material, so that you can get an appreciation of what we have included to assist you to be able to guide your client through the sales process. One of the key words in advising clients on selling, I think, is having adequate time to plan a proper process, because it is not easy to sell a business at present and receive an outstanding price for it. Many businesses will have to plan this process, and this planning outcome could be over a 2 to 3 year period. So the Selling a Business consultancy control form goes through the entire process. What strategies need to be implemented to get the business ready for sale? Are they in the staff area? Is there a requirement for some additional training? Does the business need to improve its service to customers? Are there agreements with suppliers that haven't been finalised that should be finalised? Are there appropriate systems in place? What are the debtors' days outstanding for your business? How do they compare to industry averages? How do they compare to 30 days? And if they're very high, you might be frightening away a potential purchaser. You might say they're not going to try to undertake the improvements that they believe will be necessary for them to be able to adequately finance an acquisition of your client's business. What about stock control? Is there intellectual property that's been developed for this business? Is it going to be part of the sale? Or are you going to license it separately to the purchaser? Those decisions need to be made. What's the unique selling proposition of this business? What's the reputation of the brand? How does the business differentiate itself in the marketplace? These are the key issues, because these key issues can mean a lot more money when it comes to the goodwill of the business. And what are you going to do to guide your client through fixing any of the items that you have answered yes to? So there's a few items there to start thinking about. Getting ready for sale. This is a process that is going to take some time. What changes are necessary? We've highlighted some of those in the previous document. Why is the business for sale? What does your client believe the business is worth? What do you think it's worth? Invariably, there will be a gap, a valuation gap. And the key challenge for you as an accountant or business advisor is to determine strategies whereby the valuation gap might be bridged. But the very important issue that you then got to discuss with your client is how long you believe it's going to take to bridge that valuation gap. Your client mightn't be prepared to wait that long. Your client might have to resolve that they are going to accept a lower price than what they would like to get for the business, because they're not prepared to put in the hard yards over the next 2 to 3 years to implement systems and processes which will contribute towards bridging the valuation gap. So this form is there to assist you in those sort of deliberations. If you're selling shares in a company, I think it's a good idea that you instigate a due diligence review of the company before the company is placed on the market. Because if there's something wrong, it's best that it gets sorted out now and rectified so that hopefully no one will ever know that there was a problem in some particular area. And to do that, you will need to undertake a proper due diligence review as if you were acting for the purchaser. Now, the form we have on the screen at present is for a company. It could just as easy be for a sole trader. In fact, we do have a form for that. I'm showing you the company due diligence form because a lot of the questions are the same. Obviously, if you've got to sell shares in the company, the purchaser is going to be very interested in a whole lot of issues to do with the company. In particular, if there are going to be other shareholders in the company when the purchaser makes the acquisition, especially if they are current shareholders. If there's other people coming in as part of the deal with the purchaser, well, that's probably okay. He knows them. But clients I've worked through with this process have found this a very interesting assignment, and they've been able to dot the I's and cross the T's on various agreements and various procedures that might have been a little bit embarrassing if it got brought up towards the 11th hour in a negotiation, especially items relative to agreements that have been reached with team members who are going to continue on with the new owners. They should be documented, and the vendor, your client, should be making sure that whatever he or she has promised is able to be implemented. So that's the purpose of that form, to help you undertake a due diligence review to make sure that everything is shipshape. Valuation of a business, very important. We've talked about the valuation already. So we have a form which will assist you in the valuation process and looking at this concept of bridging the gap. That you might find very important in this business. A due diligence review checklist. This is the form for a non-company that I referred to a little bit earlier, but it's looking at all of the other issues that you might want to look at relative to debtors, personal property securities register. What does this business do? If they're completely ignoring the PPSR, that could cause some alarms to a potential purchaser. How are the creditors being paid? Are they being paid in accordance with their negotiated terms? What is the situation or the intention with intellectual property that's being utilised within the business? Has it been documented? Is it part of the sale? Or are you going to try to come to a separate agreement on that with the purchaser? Are you going to declare to him very clearly that it's not part of this sale? Are there any outstanding issues relative to workplace health and safety within the business? Has the business been having problems with Fair Work Australia. These should all be tidied up as part of getting the business cleaned up before a sale is able to be made. What are the potential impediments to the valuation of a business? So we have a checklist that's on the screen at present to assist the accountant business advisor to look at these things. How does the gross profit percentage of this business compare to similar businesses? Are you using benchmarks to do the comparison? Is turnover declining or is it static? What's the wages to turnover figure, rent to turnover, some of these key indicators? What's the stock turn, debtors days outstanding? Are these figures indicating that the business is healthy or is it struggling? Because the potential purchaser having a whole range of fairly good businesses to look at in the marketplace at present is probably not going to want to buy into someone else's problems. Your client will need to get these issues fixed first. So that's the overview of selling a business. It is difficult at present to sell a business. There's buyers out there, but there's a lot of businesses for sale. So the business is going to have to be able to differentiate itself. Part of the differentiation process is a proper due diligence review at the beginning, an appreciation as to what you realistically believe the business is worth compared to what the client believes it's worth. And if there is a valuation gap, what strategies could you recommend and over what time frame that if those strategies were implemented, the valuation gap might be bridged? That's the challenge. Good luck. Have a great day. Goodbye.